Take it away.
This is going to be fun. I've been actually playing around with this for a little while, and it's time to kick it off because y'all need this. This is about business in 2023. 5 things that you must master for a 6-figure income. Now, these are in specific order, and we're going to get started in just a couple seconds. But I do want to bring up something before we jump into this one, that whatever you think you can do or can't do is accurate. If you know that your business in 2023 is going to be successful, great. I'm going to challenge you that perhaps it's just one little difference you're going to have to make. Now, we've got this wonderful window right now where we all know we're in between holiday and holiday, and there's this lag that occurs. Mine's going to start on Friday at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just throwing that out there. The week of Thanksgiving, I'm kind of a ghost. I'm not going to be here. The week of Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, you can't really find me. I mean, you can, but I'm not like working. So as opposed to us worrying about what we're doing, why don't we spend the next 4 weeks making sure that we're completely set up for success in 2023? And there's some things we're going to cover that you're going to have to be good at. So I hope you have a pen and paper, because this is about your business success. For those that are on this call, I'm glad you're here. Let's make sure that we do this at your level and exceed what you can normally do. I believe in every one of you, and I want to share it. And we're going to be talking about some things as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to bounce back and forth a whole lot. I want you guys, if you will, to ask as many questions as you want. Put them in the chat, raise your hand. I'm going to get to them as we go in real time. I actually have this written down so I can follow it. Here's our focus: the 5 things we must master for a 6-figure income. Now, if I can get it to work, we'll be all set. Guess it doesn't work with Zoom. So we'll move it forward this way. Before we begin, why are you in real estate? Now, I ask this question of everybody. You have to know the answer to this one. What is it that with you, why are you in real estate? What's the motivation for you to get into this business or to stay in this business? Is there something about it that appeals to you? Now, I will tell you, and please don't repeat this, I know it's being recorded, but I'm not really like uber excited anymore about helping people. I'm just being transparent about helping people buy and sell homes. There's a lot of emotion involved. I am truthfully telling you my truth, but I love the freedom that it provides me to spend with my family. I love the financial benefit that it provides me, but with work it gives me. So I think I've become a little more jaded with 20 years in the business. I used to love helping people, and that was I just drove me nuts. I actually prefer helping you all right now to helping buyers and sellers. Don't tell anybody I said that. It's not a slam on buyers and sellers, but they can tend to be a little bit emotional. Why are you in real estate? Be very, very clear about it. And more important than why are you in real estate, what is your number? Every one of us has a freedom number, and that freedom number you must know. Now, when I say freedom number, I want you to think, how many units must I sell? How many families must I help? How many people must I help to reach what is a comfortable environment for me, or perhaps even an extraordinarily comfortable environment? My personal number is 25. I must sell 25 homes over the course of a year. My wife and I must. That's about 2 homes per month. But the perfect number is really 36 to 40. So my number for 2023 is 36. I'm just telling you that's it. My average sale price on my average home is going to be somewhere around $10,000 in GCI is what I'm going to be earning. I know my numbers. What's yours? If you say I need to make about $100,000, you got to consider that most of us have some form of compensation split we're going to be sharing with our brokerage. That's cool. That's going to net you close to around about $84,000, $85,000 plus or minus. But you've got to know this. So why are you in real estate, and what is your number? If you know those 2 things, you're in a very, very strong position to make some good decisions. What does it mean to you? Well, for me, it means a boat. Y'all see that. That's why I put that in there, because that's exactly what it means to me. I want the freedom that represents me. Why am I in real estate? What is my number, and what does that number mean to me? It gives me freedom. I used a boat as an example. Equally important, who's going to benefit from that? Of course, it's my wife, my family. You've got to ask that question as well. Also, who's going to suffer? Now, think about this, folks. We are working to set up your 2023 so you have personal leverage, and your leverage drives and motivates you to achieve what you're going to do. Now, I'm not asking for anything, but you're going to have to ask of yourself, how much am I going to commit? How committed am I to what I must do? You know why you're in real estate. You know what your number is. You know what it means to you. And you also know who's going to benefit from that. Personally, it's going to be you, but who's going to suffer? And what I mean by suffer is if you don't sell, in our case, let's use 10, you don't sell 10 homes, you only sell 5 homes. All right, that's not a bad thing. But if you're only going to sell 5 homes and you should sell 10, somebody is going to suffer besides you. Are you willing to let them down? Now, I don't want to focus on the negative. I'm going to focus on the positive through all of this because nobody's perfect. You're not going to be the perfect person you want to be. But I promise you, as long as you keep in mind what the ramifications of your actions are, it will help you make better decisions all the time. Let's carry on. All right. I love this one. I hope you do too. Rate your schedule from a score of 1 to 10. Now, it's important when you do this. That means your personal schedule on your phone, what you follow on a daily basis. I have to caveat this. Putting on your schedule every single thing you're doing is not necessarily going to be effective because there's no way you can follow it. There's no way you're going to win. But there are probably 2 or 3 very big items that must be attended to on a daily basis. These are the absolute must-dos. And if your schedule shows that, and your schedule reflects what those items are, you're going to have a higher probability of having your schedule actually support your goals, for your numbers, for what it means to you, for what the benefits are. Your schedule is going to be the beast that does the heavy lifting. Rate how you follow your schedule. Now, when you're rating this, I want you to consider this, folks. If you're rating it between 0 or 1 to 10, 1 to 5 is I've got no real solution, and 1 is just dismal, and 5 is it's not really good, but I don't have a plan. 6 to 10 is I've got a plan at 6. It's still not really good, but I got a plan to work through it. There's a very good chance by the end of the call, all of you are in that 6 number. You've got that plan. We just got to start working it. But we want to get you out of this particular person, this whiny crier, and we want to get you to a place where your schedule actually supports you. This is going to be weird. Putting less on it actually makes more get done. We'll cover that in a bit. All right. Are you entrepreneurial? That's E, or purposeful? That's P. Now, this is a very, very important question. So let's dig into this one for a couple seconds because I want to make sure we're on the same page. Entrepreneurial is talent. Entrepreneurial is I can talk to anybody. I have the gift of gab. I'm incredibly comfortable with numbers. I can do things very fluidly. It's not a problem. Purposeful is working towards an objective. Purposeful is systems and tools. Purposeful is planned. Entrepreneurial is kind of winging it. There are some phenomenally talented people who are going to go very far being entrepreneurial, and that is an exception, not the rule. I would like to challenge you to be purposeful in your objective. Where are you going? Where do you want to get to? We just did our numbers a second ago. If your number is 10 or 20, or in my case, 36, what has to happen consistently, purposefully for you to achieve that? Now, for all of us, it is mission critical that we know what these numbers are, that we know why we're in real estate. What does it mean to us? How are we going to benefit and suffer? And what is our schedule? Does our schedule support it? And are we working towards it? I want you to be as purposeful as you possibly can. Let's get into this. Now we're going to dive into the fun stuff. Let me switch this around for you. There we go. All right, folks. Your database, heard this before, it's everything. Feeds your spirit. Do you have an action plan feeding all events, for feeding into it from all activities? Every single thing you do, it must go into your database. Is your database strong? Because folks, I'm here to tell you, if you're going to be successful, reach your goals, you are going to tap into your database because that's still right now, I guarantee you, where most of your business comes from. And almost every person I speak to, myself included, do not give it the attention or the reward it deserves. Consider this, please. Consider that if most of your business comes from your database, wouldn't it logically make sense that you focus most of your energy on your database, since that's where it comes from? Now, also consider that if you're only presenting or only giving your database, let's say 50% of your attention, but 90% of your business comes from there. Imagine what your business would look like if you bump that up to 75%. I would suggest that 90% of your business would come from there, but your business would probably times 1.5, be 150% better. or maybe even double it. Now, we talked about systemizing, being purposeful as opposed to entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial is, oh my God, I'm going to pick up my phone. Hey, it's George. I haven't spoken to you in a while. How you doing? That's great. And then you're like, that was awesome. I'm done. That's not purposeful. Purposeful is having it in your phone so you know who you're calling on a daily basis. Remember, everything goes to your database. There's an entire class on database. I made that for everybody. I want you to have it. It's in the links section of the GPS Global Partners. It's a full-on class for you. But in your database, if everything's going to go there, are you giving it the attention you need to? Is it as purposeful as it should be? Do you have an action plan for feeding all of activities, everything you do in there? How are you engaging with the new sphere person and cultivating them? Because you are going to continue to add to your database. That is a certainty. If you're going to be in business for a while, your database will continue to grow. Think about it. You've got past clients, you've got people you meet in the social environment. Here's a shameless plug. We are having up in the central part of Orlando, central part of Florida, we're having a Christmas party on the 13th. And that is done we're doing it at the Winter Park Women's Association. It's a really cool place. I went and looked at it yesterday, do a site view of the property. Really, really nice. Well, Lindsay has put this together for us, and she's kind of spearheading this with the location and all. She joined this so she can meet people. I promise you those people go in her database. I promise you she's going to continue to keep in touch with them. For every 10 people in her database, there's a very good chance that one person will work with her if she's communicating with them properly, or will refer her if she's communicating with them properly. So if she meets 100 people, she has a probability of 10 more additional closes by putting effort into this. These are numbers that go with database. How are you engaging with the new sphere person in your database? And is it duplicatable? So one of the first things, or the first thing we're going to cover right now, is that you must have a business plan for your database. You must have systems in place for your database to continue to move yourself forward, because folks, this is where your business currently is. If anybody's brave enough, raise your hand to this question if this is you. I have a great database. It's got 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 1 million people in it. I have this amazing database, but I'm always looking for that new shiny squirrel because the database is already here. They already know me. I don't need to reach out to them. I sure don't need to make deeper relationships. Anybody else perhaps guilty of that? Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. Bottom line is, this is where your business is. The most important thing you're going to be doing, the five things, number one is your database. All right, we'll beat that horse later. You know I will. Let's carry on. The next thing, you need to be investing in your business. Tony DeFalco, you're on the call. I still see you. Tony is my sounding board on a lot of things. He's one of my accountability partners. He's also a brother of mine. Tony, I do want you to throw a couple thoughts in here. Let me run through this. I'm going to call you out in a second if you don't mind. And Tony's got 20 years business, runs a real estate brokerage, has coached more agents than you could shake a stick at. And I got him on the call. I'm going to utilize the shit out of that and definitely do it. So investing in your business, this is a build time. All right. This is build time. That means you're going to need to spend time and money on your business. Now, I'm not implying that you need to go broke, and I'm sure not implying, although it does work, that you should spend money on Zillow. Now, we'll cover this a little bit later. I'm investing in your business. When I say investing in building your business and spending money and time in there, I'm thinking probably database. I'm thinking listing lead generations, not buyer side lead generations, because we'll cover that at section 5. Even if you're not buying leads, there is an expense to lead generation. And again, it's time or money. So investing in your business is going to predicate that you are absolutely going to have to spend time and probably some money on there as well. As you make money, and this is hindsight protection right here, I do need you to invest in taxes. You're going to pay them. This is very, very important, particularly when you take your business and you say, I sold 10 homes this year. I want to sell 20 homes this year. Or last year I sold 10. I want to sell 20 homes this year. That's terrific. The one thing I cannot let go by without having a good conversation is that you've got to protect yourself, because it will bite you in the backside. I promise you, they're going to want money from you, and they're going to want it in January, which is pretty tight. You need to pay yourself 15% minimum standard, put it in a separate account for your taxes. You also need to invest in growth. And you're like, well, but I'm going to have all my money gone away. No, you're actually not. And this is where I'm going to bring Tony in. If you're not investing back into your business, you run into a place that is not going to be as attractive as it should. Tony, can you offer some suggestions, particularly on the investing in tax and investing in growth? I know you've seen both of those firsthand and secondhand with coaching.
Absolutely. So first off, if you view it as this, if you take this and put it in your mind that a commission check is revenue for your business and not income. So a commission check is revenue for your business and not income. If you had a shoe store and you had 50% profit and you sold a pair of shoes for $200, you need to replace that pair of shoes, which would be $100. If you took the $200 and just spent it, didn't save for taxes, didn't save for the new product, you would be out of the shoe business as soon as you sold the original amount of shoes. So look at it this, it's business revenue, 15 to 20% for taxes. And the first 10% does not belong to you. It belongs to customer experience and reinvesting in your business. So let's say a $10,000 check comes in, 1,500 to 2,000 for taxes, right off the top, 10% of the 10,000, $1,000 for the customer experience and marketing. I like 50-50, 500 for the customer experience. Let's make them a walking, talking billboard for you. And then 500 to go get new customers so you can meet new people that would give you the same type of referrals in the future.
I gotta throw out the thing that really just blew me away. You were showcasing this to me. Tony had spent $500. I think it was $500, quite honestly, on having these signs that said "Welcome Home" in the front yard. They were magnificent, and I'm like, Tony, that's a whole lot of money. But the presentation and the carrying, they were delivered and the signs were put in the front yard of the house. And I think they're there for a day or two, a couple of days when they came home. But that's what they came home to, and the neighbors knew it as well. It was really just amazing.
And this, George, the sign's actually $100, and $500 was $200 in gift cards, $150 for a restaurant, $50 for iTunes, and toys for the kids. Now, I've done that many times, but there's one particular family I did that for, and the father-in-law, the father of the wife and the father-in-law of the son-in-law, or the husband, could not believe what I did for his kids, and his daughter cried because I decorated their kids' room, had toys in the pool, stuff like that. I've done about 4 million in business, which is about 7 transactions with the father-in-law. In addition, I have the brother-in-law shopping with me. Guys, make people feel special. I don't even look at it as investing money back. I look at it as someone gave me, on that transaction, George, I paid a referral. It was about $8,000 I brought in after the referral. Mm-hmm. And I worked hard on that deal. Like, we had to look at a lot of properties, 15 hours. They gave me $8,000 for 15 hours. I felt like I owed them a $500 welcome home experience, had their kids moving to a new area that they didn't know kids in school, and make it feel real special for them. I don't even care if I get anything back. I just think I owe it to them.
And well, and you made sorry. I was going to say you made such an experience for them at the community too. Everybody in the community now knows that a new family's moving in, so they're going to be more outpouring of emotions and saying hello. I just thought it was an incredibly great gesture and a good investment in business.
Exactly. So guys, just reinvest. George is so right. And George, 4 years ago, I started this company with you, and you've beat database in our heads for the last 4 years. 2.5, 3 years that we've actually been doing these calls. And I had a database at one time of 8,000 names. My database is now 39 people, but I pay attention to those 39 people at a high level. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm not going to hit Icon this year. I'm missing it by 2 deals. So I'm still working on a couple of rentals right now. And that equates to about 28, 30 transactions from 39 people, guys. Your life becomes so much fun. Now, at the very beginning, you got to work your behind off. You got to work with people you don't know. You got to create relationships with people you've never had a conversation with. It's scary. But guess what? There's going to be some that come to the top, the cream of the crop, and say, wow, I really connected with George. I really connected with Tiffany. I really connected with Deep. And that's the person that you want to pay attention to on a long-term basis. And then they will refer all their friends to you. Go spend 10%, build the relationships, and just work. I'm going to leave it at this, George. If you need me anymore, I wrote this on Facebook and my cousin said this. What a great statement. And I'm back to doing what I need to do to build my health. But I want you all to write this down. Build the habits. Gene Frederick quoted a guy, success is created by great habits. Build the habits needed to build the business and the life that you want to live. Build the habits to create the business and the life that you want to live. If your habits do not match what you want, you absolutely better change those habits, because those habits are going to take you in a direction. George had 2 knees replaced. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. Now he is. Health is better. And a lot of times, guys, it's a little bit too late. Create the habits, build the habits to create the life and the business that you want to have and the life that you want to live.
Awesome. Tony, thank you. I'm going to read what Tony wrote down. We do not have a lead problem. We have a communication problem normally. People who know and trust you will refer you. I'm going to add to that. Know, trust, and know that you care about them will refer you. How many saved contacts are in your phone? How about your social media? You have 20 deals per year in your phone minimum. Tony, thank you very much for that, because I want to make sure we can jump through it. That was really valuable stuff. Folks, we're talking about investing in your business. It's time to build it. It's going to take time and money. If you're not buying leads, there's still an expense to lead generation. And part of that expense is probably, if we skip down to invest in growth, what Tony was talking about, what impacted me so much with what he did is investing in his business, in its lead generation. It's doing the right thing. But folks, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to pay your taxes. Let's get the account set up. Doug added something in here. You should be paying it on a quarterly basis. You're absolutely right. You want to talk about that later? Absolutely. Let's get on the phone. Let's have a conversation. I'll drop my Calendly link in the call in a little bit. Schedule a 5-minute call with us and let's have that done. Here's the thing. Very last of this one right now. Do not expand too quickly. Now, I've seen this time and time again. You get a little bit of success. You're like, oh, I'm going to build a big team. That's not how this works. Now, I'm going to be putting together a lot of good information for this year about building a team and the steps at which to do so. Here's the thing. If you are so darn busy that you don't have time to do anything else, we're going to leverage you at some point. But it is not something you do beforehand. Now, please remember this, and this is mission critical. Okay, it's a little sidebar on here, but I'm definitely going to throw this out because y'all got to get this super clear. You have got to follow what's on your schedule. We'll cover that in a minute. And your lead generation is never negotiable. You don't get to book doctor's appointments. You don't get to schedule something there to make sure it goes away, because the truth of the matter is none of us really want to do it. But you got to do it because, folks, thank you, Doug. Here's a conversation we had this morning. Your number one job is lead generation, period. You're a marketer that sells real estate. And if you think it's any different, I challenge you to debate that with me. If you don't have business coming in, you don't have a business. So your job is, of course, to get that business. I personally, Tony personally, my God, 3,000 people down to 39, and that's where 25 to 35 transactions are coming from. Y'all, let that sink in. Right? He's got 20 years, but he's still only at 39. Your job is to be a marketer. You are marketing what you do, your services. Don't misunderstand what your job is. Because if you do that and you do it effectively, you will be successful. Yes, Mr. DeFalco.
Please do not take 19 years to figure this out.
20 with me. 20 with me.
Years to figure this out. Everyone should go to YouTube today and watch Rick DeLuca Disc 1. It's Disc, D-I-S. See, that's how old this is. Disc 1, and learn about the bullseye system. Guys, it's who we pay attention to. Do not do what I did for 19 years. I thought I understood database. Happy holidays, happy birthday, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever. I was not proactively taking care of the people who had taken care of me in the past. I put it on an automatic email drip. And I promise you, no one gets real excited and real warm and fuzzy about your email drip. But when you call and say, George, how have you been? How are the knees doing?
Yep.
People care.
Well,
Sorry,
100%.
I had to drop in there.
No, Tony, I'm grateful. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on. We are going to push through this. You're going to brand yourself, folks. This is really important. This is working on your business. So we're going to cover it. There's three big rocks you probably have. Most people have the same 3 big rocks. It must get done. And this is what your schedule is going to look like when you're on purpose and not entrepreneurial, not winging it. Now, I'm going to risk something, and I don't need to reply on this one, Tony, but I'm just going to pretend that this is the absolute gospel. Tony is extraordinarily entrepreneurial. If you've seen what he writes on Facebook and what he does, he's incredibly good at the art of conversation. He's also incredibly good at writing. He's one of the better writers I've ever seen. That's entrepreneurial, but going down to 39 people, it's purposeful. It's no longer, I'm just going to write what I want. I'm going to focus on what matters. And that's purposeful and that's important. Now, you must, jumping into this, you must brand yourself. Are you easily findable? And does everything point to you? Now, when I say easily findable, of course, if they go to YouTube or Google, are you going to pop up right away? No, but we want to make sure that you're starting this process because here's the thing, 2 years from now, you'll be much easier to find than you are right now. And everything that is worth it, everything that makes the most sense, that is successful driven, that is going to bring you success, takes time on task over time. It is not a one and done. Nothing good is. Try being in a relationship and just giving it one good day of happiness and then forget the rest of it because I already got it. It's no big deal. It doesn't work that way. This is a compounding effect. You're branding yourself as that. Your business page on Google, do you have one? If you don't, let's get to it. This syllabus will be dropped in here, and where it's highlighted is some instructions on how to do it, as well as how to send out reviews. Your brand, your online identity, is it built for you already? Your business cards, are they set? Your Zillow profile, Realtor.com profiles, reviews and recommendations. Folks, you have got to be professionally forward. Now, I have my own, actually, at this point, I have zero political views one way or the other. I just think we're all screwed, all right? And that's not a party-wise, because I think they're all horrible. Bottom line is that the brand I want out when I'm leaning one direction or leaning another direction? Is that what I want the public world to see? Probably not, unless that's my niche. Is what you have out there reflective of who you are? And more importantly, who are you going to be? It should be. Make sure that your brand is out there. Google yourself. See what happens when you do. Do you have a business page? If you don't, why not? Shouldn't you? Yes, you should. Can you do it in one day? Probably. But you know what? It's probably something you're going to work on as part of your bullet points, where I'm going to do this over the course of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days or a week. And then you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to tweak it because I'm never going to be satisfied. We'll cover that as well. This is a big one. I want you focusing on listings, every one of you. Buyer side's great. They're easy. Here's the problem. You're going to run into financing issues now. Focus on getting listings. If you wake up every day and you say, I am a listing agent, I focus and I specialize in listings. If you think this, it will start to attract it. It's called a reticular activator, and your reticular activator is actually going to pull things to you that you focus on. Has anybody, this is not reticular activating, this is just Big Brother tech and how they do it. But if you talk to your significant other and you say, God, I really would like to get a Ford Raptor, all of a sudden Google lights up with Ford Raptors. Your ads on Facebook are all about Ford Raptors. Okay, that's actually, that's just big tech listening into what we're saying. But the thing is, you're going to start seeing them more too. They're everywhere. Oh my God, I can't believe how many are out there where you never saw them before, because your subconscious is open to it. If you're a listing agent, it's going to open your reticular activator. It'll draw more opportunities for that to you. You'll actually be aware of those. Remember, listings make babies. Marketing your listing is critical. Now, it has been considered at this point the highest support for listings is listings to leads. It does the best job. Now, previously, we spoke of investing in your business. If you're going to be a listing agent, shouldn't you be very good at listings to leads? If that's the best platform, currently, it is the best platform for marketing consistently your listings. Shouldn't you have a good working knowledge of that? And if you're going to invest in your business, well, it's $60 a month. And I get that. And that's important. But if you have one listing and that listings to leads platform maximizes it and brings on one more buyer, I promise you, it totally pays for the next 3 years of it. There are also lead generation platforms in there, like the landing pages, which are better than anything else out there, unless you plan on doing high tech, make your own and copy it off. Why not become an expert at that? If you are a listing agent, I am. Shouldn't you know how to use listings to leads at a very high level? Because that would be foundational for additional leads coming in, because listings make babies. Database, CMA, farming, phones, FSBO, all of these are where your listings come from. What are you going to do? What's part of your lead generation? I say this to everybody. I say this as loudly as I possibly can. You have 2, maybe 3 main lead generation sources. Almost exclusively, everybody here is going to have database as one of them. It'd be crazy if you don't. So why don't we get good at that right now? Whatever else you're going to be doing, does it bring in listings? And if it doesn't, ask yourself the hard question. Is there an opportunity for listings to come from there? What pops to my mind normally, because I'm a huge proponent of open houses, they are a wonderful vehicle at which to meet buyers and sellers. But if you're doing open houses and you're a listing agent and you're not knocking on doors or communicating to the community at a very high level, good chance you're not really a listing agent, and you need to be. You need to have it in your mind that I'm a listing agent. Last thing on this slide that we're going to look at is real quick. Do not, or be sorry, not do not, be very, very careful about buying listing leads. Okay. There are not a lot of places out there that do that very well. Listing leads are earned. They are done through relationships, or they're done through a value proposition. OfferPad, Open Door, used to be Zillow. They got out of the business very quickly. Those are independent buyers. They buy, or iBuyer, excuse me, which is institutional. Wow. Institutional platforms. Those buyers of homes are buying them to make money. I have a trick for anybody that sticks around after this call is over. When we're done, I'm going to share something with you that I just had created that will actually help you on the conversation with working with a seller who's contemplating going to an iBuyer. I will break it down and show you how the cost analysis doesn't work. You're going to want this. I'm going to drop it in the chat, but you're going to need to be here at the end to catch that. Otherwise, it's just going to go away. Be careful about buying your listings. Listings are something you work for through relationships or through a value proposition. Now, for a very large portion of us, we have an institutional buyer platform within our current brokerage model. I don't know about you. Actually, I do. Every one of you needs to get this in their head and make sure you understand it very, very clearly. Mr. Seller, I am 100% able to provide you a cash offer within 48 hours of me coming to see your property and determining what I think the value is going to be or what it's going to appraise for. I will have at least one cash offer for you within 48 hours. Every one of us could do that. Every one of us has the ability to do an iBuyer program. Now, remember, before the property's listed, unless I am completely off my nut, you can call Open Door and OfferPad and get iBuyer contracts as long as you have a signed listing agreement. But before it hits the market, you can do this as well. So you can actually utilize them for that same thing. Now, I'm going to show you why that doesn't work and why they won't go with that unless they're absolutely hard pressed that they want convenience over value. And we're going to talk about that at the very end too. That's kind of the bonus session today. Folks, be careful about buying your listing leads. That was the big thing and most important. Now, I have no idea where my share button is. All right, back to business. Thank you guys for sticking with me. We've got a couple more minutes. We're going to do a couple more things to look at. We're going to talk about leveraging others or tools. I would challenge every one of you that if you feel the need to run out and do something, I've got to go show this property, I've got to go do this. No, you don't. Not during the day, not in the morning. Please protect what is most important to you. Protect your schedule. Protect your working on your business, what I call WOB time. Working on your business is mission critical. So is lead generation. And for a lot of us, lead generation is our database. Are you paying attention to this? Mosby, are you paying attention to this? Database is lead generating. It doesn't happen randomly. It's purposeful. unless you're the best entrepreneurial person out there. And one of the best I've ever seen just told you he minimized everything down to 39. So focus, purposeful applies. If you get to the point that you're absolutely crazy, I'm in 1 minute. I promise I'll get to you. I swear I will. Give me just a second. I want to burn through this before I leave. I'll call on you. So stick around, my friend. Transaction management is the absolute positively best investment you can make in your business. Now, this is a big change from what I used to say. I said, no, you don't need to do it. SkySlope's awesome. It is. It's terrific. It does everything you need it to do, but you still want to have some form of leverage because you don't get the permission to compromise the number one job we have, which is we are marketers for our own personal business. Y'all getting that? Pay attention. This is real important. We're marketers for our own business. Do not let transaction coordination get in the way of doing that. If you need to have somebody, hire a virtual assistant. Now, must have a missing persons report. That means you need to know exactly what they're doing in writing with a description and an estimate of how much time they're going to invest per week on that particular task. If you're saying, I'm going to start, that's, by the way, this is the beginning process of building a team right here. This is it. This is literally it. Transaction management and then virtual assistant if you need somebody. Now, leveraging others, you can also pay your children. It is a tax benefit. Y'all pay attention. They don't pay taxes on that. Both of my children have savings accounts. We happen to control their debit card. Tiffany, can you pause the recording for just a second? Okay. Anyway, so always pay all your taxes. It's important to pay the government every penny they deserve. Productivity apps. These are all things to help you leverage. I do a shout out for Things. Things is what I absolutely love. If you're interested in Things, you're welcome to take a look at it. It looks something just like this. It's an app, and I believe it is only available for iPhones. Sorry, Android users. It is, in my opinion, the best app I've ever used. Zapier is a great tool to leverage lead generation. You can flow it everywhere. And here's the scary part. It's not going to do it itself. You have to teach it how to do it. It's going to take some working on your business time. But eventually, quickly, like probably before Christmas, it'll be set up and you don't even have to think about it next year. You can focus on the 2 or 3 things you have to do every day to get your business to reach your numbers. And systems. If you do it twice, it should be systematized. Tiffany, talking to you, got to look in the camera. If you do it twice, it's systematized. That means what we're doing too. We got that, right? Where's Joe? Tell me later. All right, let's see. I've got, Iman, you've got a question. Shoot, you got your hand up, my friend. Maybe not.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good. There you are. Go ahead.
So, can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, breaking up a little bit.
And I had a listing where, yeah, can you? Oh, I'm sorry. Then I'll call back if I'm.
No, you're fine. Well, but if you're telling a story, do me a favor, hang tight. Let's get through the rest of this because I really want to follow up, finish with this. We're about to jump into.
I just had a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think it's wise to tell your sellers that, hey, if you're going to list a house in this type of market, then be prepared to give some type of concession to the buyers, like have some kind of number that says, okay, I'll contribute towards this and that, and use that as a negotiation tool on a potential buyer, or just because they're thinking, oh, market is dropping, I don't want to lose any more money, and that's.
A quick answer to this, and we can dive into it a little bit deeper, is I always like to give the sellers and all my sellers and my buyers, I like to give them options on what's going to probably happen. So you got to be prepared that this is a possibility. In this case, it's a possibility that at some point a buyer is going to ask for points to buy down the rate. When and if we decide we should do a market adjustment, and I only have this conversation after I've listed a property and I have a hard number on the contract and I know where I'm going. When and if we decide to do an adjustment on the property, if we're not getting the traffic, so I set them up for that too, we might want to consider the putting out there very publicly that we're offering a buy down credit as opposed to a reduction. And if that doesn't work, we'll go down to the reduction and then we'll go to another buy down credit. Again, topics, conversations, great questions. Let's cover that in the after party because we can really dig into it a little bit. I think it's important what you said, but I want to stay on point with what we're doing for the 5 things. That's kind of a little bit off of that one, but good question nonetheless. Thank you for bringing it up. Folks, I want to jump into some bonuses. There are 5 things that absolutely must be covered. Your database, investing in your business, branding yourself, focusing on listings, and leveraging others. Work on your business, scheduled. This is the bonus section. This is extras. This is not the free gift I'm giving away in just a couple minutes, that how you can really go head to head with an institutional buyer. I'm going to share that with you guys in a second. But you have got to work on your business almost daily. If it's not on your schedule, it isn't being done. I'm going to stop this for a second. I can't emphasize this enough. If you don't have on your calendar working on your business where there are projects that have to get done, because here's the thing, if you didn't need this conversation, you wouldn't be on this call. The fact that you're on this call shows that you want to grow and that you want to develop and you want to make it better. You can only do that if you give focus to where you know you need to, and you've got to work on your business, and it needs to be scheduled, a time where this is it. And even if it's an hour, that's okay, because you can do more of it tomorrow. And the biggest secret to working on your business is not figuring out what you're going to do the day you're going to do it, but put it in your schedule so that you know what you're going to do next week. What are the projects that need attention next week? Get them off your to-do list and put them onto your schedule. And if you need 3 hours, then you've got 3 days you're working on a particular project. But by chipping away at this rock, working on your business, working on what has to get done, you're going to continue to move your business forward. And that's where the success lies. That's where your number is attainable. I can't say this passionately enough. If you're not working on your business, you're not moving it forward at the level it could, and it deserves your attention. And it's one of the 3 things that you absolutely positively must have on your schedule. I always like to put in here for everybody so that you guys get this. One of the bonus things that I put in here is never be satisfied. I spent 10 years in the REO side of the business. When I got drafted into it, I got to tell you, it absolutely sucked. But it put 25 families through the worst recession we've ever seen. And for that, I'm truly grateful. But it was horrible. It created an alcohol habit. It didn't really, but I mean, you literally, if you're done knocking on doors telling people, hey, I'm going to kick you out, have a good day, you just want to go bury yourself in a vat of whiskey. It's life sucking. The reason we were successful is we were never satisfied. The reason I was successful in for sale by owners, where I started my business, was I was never satisfied that I had the answers. I always made it better. I was never pleased. My listing presentation is good, but it's not great. My follow-up is good, but it's not great. How is your X? How is your Y? How is your Z? Is it great? It has to be. Now, it's not going to get there right away. In fact, it's not going to get there quickly, but if it continues to move, you're going to have 3 things occur to you. Number 1, you're going to feel very, very good about what you did. I promise you. As you start making a difference, you will start feeling better, really good, and you'll see progress. Number 2, your business will start feeling better, meaning it's going to start working smoother. And number 3, you're going to get time back. Because if you're working on your schedule, there's a very good chance, if you are purposeful, you are putting into play something that is leveraging, that can be duplicated, that does it automatically, or that is systematized, Tiffany, so that it doesn't take you recreating all the time. That has been and continues to be the secret to success. Y'all see it right here with the GPS Globals. When we're doing these meetings, these aren't me leading these meetings. These are you guys leading the meeting. We just built a structure around them that works really well. We have systems for it. You know how you see what the classes are about? There's a check or a form we fill out. That's what we do. That way everybody gets it. It's just, we don't have to think about it. Your business, the things that are duplicatable need to be there. Working on your business, absolutely mission critical. Never be satisfied. Now this is for everybody out there that is even remotely human. One bad day is not a bad year. Now, many of you need to hear that just because you have a crappy day, you're too tough on yourself. Lighten up. Let yourself make a mistake. It's okay. It's human. If you don't make mistakes, I want to hire you. Tiffany, sorry, bad news. Just throwing it out there. If we've got one perfect person in here, I may have to take this away from you, kiddo. I love you. I do. You're awesome. But you get it, right? I mean, well, actually, why don't we do this? We get a perfect person. Why don't we split them? You take one day, I'll take the other day. That'd be great. He's like, yeah, we're in. It's not going to happen. One bad day does not make a bad year. It doesn't even make a bad week. It's just a bad day. Give yourself a break. You deserve it. It's okay if you screw it up, but try not to do it 2 days in a row, please. Okay. If you've ever accomplished a goal, this is exactly the same. Let that sink in. If you write it down, if you tell people, maybe even the person that suffers or benefits, what you're going to do, there's a very good chance the leverage will help you do it. And by leverage, I mean success, personal success. You have it in you. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And I want you to challenge yourself that this is the month for the next 30 days till right before really Christmas starts. And for all of you of the Jewish faith or other faiths, I use that as a timestamp, not as a, this is what you should practice. For the real holiday season that's shared by, that everybody seems to celebrate, you've got another month. Can we please, for the love of God, get your schedule in order? Can we please, for the love of God, have you focus on your database, on investing in your business, systematized on that, on branding yourself so you're able to be found. Make sure that you know you're a listing agent, because you are. Every one of you has to be. When I got started in this real estate business, my mentor said, you should call for sale by owners. It was 2002. We're in the hottest real estate market we ever had. For sale by owners, just like now, they put a sign in the yard, they get 4 contracts in an hour. This guy, I'm not going to mention Mike Kranz's name because that would be bad news. He's actually an amazing real estate coach. I love him to death, but he goes, call for sale by owners. I said, all right, Mike, I'll do just that. So I called for sale by owners. I did not work with buyers. I literally did not work with a buyer for 6 years. And even then, it was very difficult. I did it by proxy because I had no choice. It was somebody that said, I'm working only with you. And I said, all right, I'll do it. So I went out and I saw a couple homes, and then I pawned them off to one of my partners. It's not because I didn't want to do buyers. It's because I didn't know how to do buyers. But many of you have this in your mind right now, and I want to help you with this. This is that working on or be a listing agent. I want you to get this really clearly. You don't know how to work with listings, so you don't want to do it. The same way I didn't know how to work with buyers, so I didn't want to do it. I wasn't good at it. And the only way you're going to get good at it is to go out there and just Nike the crap out of it. Do it. Just do it. You'll get good very quickly. Most of you have heard my listing presentation, my horror story, my listing presentation. I will sum it up. The bottom line is, after I went to this, my first listing presentation, I owned it. I was already in relationship with them. I met with them for an hour ahead of time. I hung out with them. My kid had played with their children. I showed up at the house, cold flop sweats. I didn't tour the property. I saw the whole thing yesterday. I literally perspired through my shirt, dripping down my face so bad that the wife got up and grabbed me a paper towel and a glass of water. A couple minutes in, the husband leans over. He goes, it's okay. You're doing great. I didn't get the listing because I wasn't good at it. And that was my first time out the gate. And it cost me probably, $4,000 or $5,000. You're probably going to do the same thing. Do it faster than slower. Run to that screw up right away, because one bad day is not a bad year. It's actually that lesson will be the most valuable one for you or for me, and hopefully for you. So learn from what I did. I went out there, and not because I'm smart, just because I didn't have a choice. I went out there and I said, I'm going to go on a listing appointment. I went on a listing appointment and I completely sucked at it. I mean, it was horrible. Awful. Like it was the top 3 most embarrassing things I've ever done. And I am so grateful that happened. I went home and I practiced my listing presentation, because one bad day doesn't make a bad year. It just made it a bad day, but I'm never going to do that bad day again, because I'm never satisfied. Are you seeing a consistency here? Now, I didn't work with buyers because I didn't have to. I had enough business. I was listing 25 to 35 homes a year. Let that sink in. Folks, I'm a high school dropout. Okay. I'm actually really smart. You just can't prove it on paper. Thank you very much to my favorite comedian for that line. I have no special skills that you don't possess. I'm not incredibly articulate. It's up to you. Do you think you are, or do you think you're not? It's up to you. You're right, whatever you think. I'm a listing agent. That's what I am. I don't know how to work with buyers. I told myself that for 6 years. Are you telling yourself I can't work with listings? If you are, stop it. because you can. And you deserve it. Be a listing agent. Change your mind now, as we said, the next 30 days. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. I am going to share with you what I hope to be something you're going to enjoy. Tiffany, would you do me a favor? I'm not going through the chat. Would you mind doing that? I got as far as Rick Delta Disc, what I typed, and then that's it. Tony DeFalco put in bullseye, figure out, and from there down, take a look at it. I want to pull up this image. Tiffany.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm reading the chat. I'm trying to find the spot where you are. Found it. I'm looking for the bullseye message. Lori says, I've been sending and asking for Google reviews, and one person did it 3 times and not showing up. Anyone else having this issue?
Send Google reviews to people, and when you do that, entice them. Say, listen, it means a lot to me. I really need this favor if you wouldn't mind doing it. If you're sending out any reviews, send them at least 4 or 5 days before either side closings, not after closing. Before closing. Listen, we're coming to close. I know this is a little premature, but I also know you're going to get extremely busy once we actually close on the property. And it would mean a great deal to me if I can ask a favor of you. Would you do me a small favor? If they say yes, they are emotionally obligated to help you. We don't do favors for people we don't like, period. So utilize that to your advantage, but it should go out 4 days beforehand.
And that's the way to ask for Google reviews. But I think the real issue, because I'm going further in the chat, is that they aren't showing up, because someone also said that they are also having that same issue, that clients have screenshotted the fact that they did do a Google review, but it's just not showing up under Google. Holly suggested reaching out to Google support, and that would be my suggestion as well.
That would be my suggestion too. I like that.
Tony put in listing to leads, $60 per month for 10 active listings, or less that month. Sorry.
If you have 10 or less listings,
There you are.
it's only $60 per month. So guys, you don't want to pay $60 for one listing. It's going to motivate you to get 9 more. Come on now, George.
You're absolutely right. All right. Listen, I want to share this with you. Let's see if I can do this, make this work. Hang tight, folks.
And while he's doing that, 4 minute, or you guys have the reminder for Grit, because you guys, Grit, it's Tuesday.
I have a quick question while I have you guys here before Grit. Do you guys have any recommendations for a CPA or an accountant or a tax person?
No, that's going to be something you're going to have to find on your own, because if we gave them to everybody, everybody'd have the same ones. I'm actually looking at one as well, Alethea, and I'm interviewing 3 or 4 because I am not satisfied with mine. Good question, though. And just to ask around, to put one out publicly is a little bit of a challenge.
Okay, thank you, George. Appreciate it.
Got it. All right. Let's take a look. So this is for you. It's actually dropped in the chat box. Comparing buyers versus traditional iBuyers versus traditional sales. Got to change that. Where is Joe? Is he off today? Tiff? Yes? No?
I'm
Okay.
here. I got
I need to send this to Joe. He needs to put the iBuyers in there. Comparing iBuyers versus traditional sales, the true cost of comparison. So let's say this is the open market price, the iBuyer price. You have a loan amount of $30,000 or $300,000. Closing costs are formulated in here. These are all estimates, 9,562, 8,800. Real estate fees, of course, this is 6% because that's what we charge. They don't charge one here, but they do have a service fee that is a little bit more than 6%. It ranges from 6 to 11. iBuyers also conduct detailed professional inspections. You're going to find that to be right in here. They do not offer home credits or for buy down credits because they don't need or they're not asking for them. Bottom line is we're not going to include that at this point. You have a longer carrying time with a traditional sale, so it costs the seller a little bit more. Here's the big difference: net profit of 111,000 or 71,000, and their convenience cost is $40,000. Now, this is available for you. All it says is GPS group. I purposely didn't put anything on there. It is in the chat. It is something that you definitely want to have downloaded and be able to utilize, maybe send out to your sphere in your database and say, hey, listen, we put this together. I just wanted to give you an idea using a rough estimate of 425 to 450 sale price. This breaks down the iBuyer. I would incorporate that if it were just me with a quick video, because you can shoot a video inside of KV Core, have KV Core put the video in the email with this as an attachment. Boom. You're ready to provide something of massive value to your clients. Here's the part that they don't say in here, and there's no place to put it. If you've got a house that's worth 450, Tony DeFalco, are you still on the call? I don't know if I can see him. If you're on the call, Tony, just jump in because I need your math skills on this for me. But if you've got a house that's worth $450,000 and your mortgage is $300,000, you really have an equity position that's pretty small. But let's be fair, you've owned the house for 10 years. So that equity position of the difference between 300 and what's left over is actually less than that. Because some of that you paid for in the mortgage and it's yours, and that's cool. But the bottom line is they're taking $40,000, or over the course of the 10 years you've owned the house, they're taking 35% of your hard work. You're giving it to them so they can sell it for more money than you can sell it for by you paying for the repairs. Does that make sense that they benefit from your hard work and love and care for this property? It doesn't to me. That's the iBuyer conversation we have to have. Hopefully this will help you do it. All right. Y'all let me talk for an hour. What'd you think? Did that anything helpful in there? I'd love ahas. I want to know what you're committed to. And I want to know if you need to be committed after this. By the way, Chris, damn glad to see you, boy. You must be driving in the Beltway way up north from one town to another. The guy literally lives an hour from every place around him. It's where he is. He's in the Panhandle area in Georgia. Good to see you on the call, Chris. I'm glad you could join us. Thanks for being here, partner. Any ahas? Anything that said, wow, that made an impact? I want to hear it. Nobody. Damn. It's a tough market.
I'm here. Hello.
Shoot. What you got?
Seriously, it's if you're not working on your business daily, you're not in business. If you're not focused on your business, and I never thought of it that way. Like if you're not actually committed to spending an hour a day working on your business, you're not, because I'm always on autopilot, running around and doing this and doing that. And I never actually sat down and I'm like, well, sit in your office and actually focus on what you need to be working on. I never thought of it that way, but that blew my mind.
Yeah, well, thank you, Chris. I'm so glad you're on. I'm glad we could throw something in there. Folks, WOB time. There's no sexy name for it. It's just bad. John Masters, I'm leaving it to you. I want a different name besides WOB, because WOB is a stupid ass name and you're creative as can be. I love your YouTube videos. In fact, I'm going to do two things besides asking John Masters to give us a good name for WOB. I'm also going to plagiarize John Masters' YouTube videos he does of him and his son. And I'm going to shamelessly ask everybody to subscribe, because for me, I am going to go heavy into YouTube right now. That's my YouTube channel. If you would, click subscribe, click notify. You're going to see some really good stuff coming out there, and I want you all to be able to grab it. It would mean a big deal to me as a personal favor if you would click on that and then hit subscribe. You can also search me at George Philbeck, and you'll find me. Well, it's just a picture of me. Anyway, Chris, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. What else hit you guys square in the middle of the eyes?
I like how Tony broke down the $10,000 commission check and looking at not as just straight income, but as business revenue, and using the shoe analogy. I thought that really helped paint the picture for me. Perfect. And now make it duplicatable, make a system for this one. You need to have it. It's important, Holly. Think about it this way. The first thing we do in our house, the first thing we do is when a commission check comes in, we divide it 3 different ways. We have one that goes to, we pay ourselves second, we pay our tax first, and then we pay our business marketing fund third. What's left over goes into what pays the bills. Now, you adjust those as you want to. Ours is a strict line 10-10-10. That's how we do it, just throwing it out there. I don't like it when I'm on cap because it's less to get to pull from, but it's still done exactly the same way, and it's systematized. We don't think about it. We just do it. So with that, Holly, I'd hope that you create a system that says, all right, I'm going to follow this. And you're going to find that what'll probably happen is you're going to have some extra money in there at some point, just about tax time, or at the end of the year, I've got an extra
$12,000 that I haven't invested. I'm going to invest the crap out of that in business. Just a thought.
So would you guys mind, anyone, what kind of accounts do you use specifically? Business checking, money market? Are you putting a certain percentage, like maybe into a fund that you can extract out? I mean, I'm just curious.
I don't because I don't trust the market, Holly, but I am not an expert. So I'm really not the person to ask. Honestly, John Wieland is a very, very astute trader. He may have a thought on that one. For me personally, though, what works well, because I'm a little conservative in this approach, I just went to my bank. I said, I need 3 different accounts. I've got my business checking account, which is where everything starts. And I need 3 accounts on additional. They're like, well, why? You've got a savings and a money market. I said, I don't care why. I want 3 extra accounts. And they said, okay, we can do that for you. So I have 3 of them. And then I gave them nicknames. One says pay us first. One says pay taxes first. The other says business expenses. Or excuse me, marketing expenses. And that's what I put them in. And that tells me what I can spend. It's kind of my version of red light, green light. I want to know where and what I have, and I can't overspend if I don't use it. Make sense?
George, what I got out of this call is if I was as systematic as you, I'd be a rich man.
Oh, no. This is a do as I say, not as I do. I am still wobbing all day working on my business.
Holly, how good was the shoe analogy? But guess what? I'll use a different one every time because I don't have them written down. Once I said, I was like, wow, that makes sense. Guys, write things down. The most successful people don't do more. They do more of the right things. Be intentional with what your actions are on a daily basis. Guys, I missed this call. Oh my gosh, Chris, and where does he live in the sticks? Does he live in a tent up there in Tallahassee?
No. He lives in not Tallahassee. That's a big city. He lives out in literally he has to drive 30 minutes to go to his bathroom. That's how far spread out things are in his house, in his world. Chris, there's a little truth to that. You are in rural. You're in South Georgia rural and in North Florida Panhandle rural. So his market is huge. So big. It's such a big area. He had to join 2 MLSs because there weren't enough people in one of them.
Guys, part of that 10% investing in your business, get to events. So Chris,
Yes.
are you still on here, Chris? Are you here, bud?
He is, buddy.
Chris, 4 years ago we met when they were deciding. It took me a year to decide. I was a real dummy in the group. But once I decided, I was out in
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
I was in New Orleans last week with my son, and I was looking for that spinning chair, Chris, that you put me in. Couldn't find it. But okay, anyway, different story, different topic for after hours. But no, 4 years later, we've sent referrals back and forth. Guys, this group, even though we're in different locations, meeting together, this is such a close-knit group. Lean on your partners. When you're having a great day, share it with us. When you're having a bad day, find some partners to share it with. This is amazing, George, and I'm sorry I haven't been on here recently. I'm on today. I'm
glad you're on. Listen, you know me, Tony. If I see your ugly face on this call, I'm going to call your ass out. I'm going to make you say something because you always got something good to help us with. And that's all this is about. And I'm joking about ugly, especially when you're losing your weight. You get more and more handsome. I saw the picture of you when you were 25. That's just not fair. That's just wrong.
Stop rubbing my leg, George. Last time I got a little weird.
I love you, man. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being part of it. All right, what else you guys got? Let's go. Because hey, listen, it's 9:37. I am 7 minutes into my working on my business and prospecting time. I hope you have the same schedule. If that's the case, hello, wife. Did you bring me something? Punch. I love punch. What kind of punch? That's good. Is there any sugar in it? Oh, thank God. All right, cool. So I got punch. This is what people that drink lots of fluids have.
Multiple cups.
I'm sorry, Tiff.
Is it multiple cups?
Multiple cups. I'm a 2-fister today. My wife just brought me that in.
Multiple cups as well.
As
Hydration is key.
Hydrate. Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
What else did you get, guys? We
I
got
just wanna
3 minutes.
point out that I
before
think
I'm popping
now
off.
might be a really good time to stop recording.
I was going to say, if
Jonathan,
you guys
all
have
the
nothing else.
Windows to be taken the wrong way. I'm just saying.
Spoken like a true master without an S.
Hey, stop trying to make more of me. I am so good. You only need one.
You only need one. There are plurals though. I've seen plurals driving in cars.
There are a few of them.
There are masters, and that's with an S. That's multiples. I like watching those.
Yes, when when we are together, we are the yeses.
We are the S. Did we stop recording? Because this is going downhill quickly.